Hey guys, this is Steve and Debbie, StevePhoto.com. Today we're at Pioneer Village, just outside of Phoenix off the I-17. It's basically an old 18th century village with buildings and houses, a church, a bank, all from the 1800s. So I have the X1D with me. I'm shooting today with my Sony A9, little on-the-go video rig, and oh man, I thought that was a dude up there. Look at that, I thought that was a guy. I did for a second. I was like, what? He's just watching us. And boy, oh boy, is it a harsh lighting day today. This is midday Phoenix, Arizona sun, which is probably the worst sun in the whole United States for photographs, but that's okay. We will be testing. It'll give us a chance to see the dynamic range of the camera, as well as, oh, we have to watch out for snakes. I'll be talking a little bit more about the camera. This is for the final part 4 review, which is at StevePhoto.com. Enjoy the video as we have a fun day. Alright guys, I have the X1D with me again. We're here at Pioneer Village in Arizona, and this is for part 4 of my review. I've already done part 1, 2, and 3, so this is the last video of the X1D in the series. And again, the video is not the review. The written review is at StevePhoto.com. But in part 4, I wrote all of the good things I love about the camera, and I wrote a bunch of things that I found were cons that some people might find as cons. For me, not really, but a lot of people, they may have issues with a few things, like there's EVF blackout when you take a shot. So if you're thinking you're going to shoot 3 frames a second without any blackout, that's not going to happen. I think this camera is a camera that you walk around with, or you take on vacation, or landscapes, or whatever you're going to shoot with it. You find your shot, you frame it, you shoot, you walk away. I don't chimp on the display. I don't do any of that. My battery is lasting quite a while. I didn't charge it today, and we used it yesterday and the day before, so I'm on 3 days of use. So that shows you how I use the camera. Basically a one shot and done. So let's check out in here. I'm going to take some shots inside. So I have it on auto ISO, and it just reverted to ISO 400 for that shot. All right, this house, I'm gonna take a picture of this house, and there's some little bit of a harsh sunlight on the right side of it, and there's shade on the left side of it, so this will be a good test for the dynamic range of the camera. So I'm gonna actually set this aperture now to, let's go f8. I'm gonna get the whole house in frame. And then we'll see what kind of colors we get out of that when I get home. Of course, you're seeing it right here on the screen right now. Hello! So this house was built in the early 1890s on an 80-acre homestead in Phoenix. Goes on with the whole story. Was donated in May of 1969. The Sears family home was scheduled for demolition in 30 days. It was quickly donated to Pioneer Arizona Foundation, and then they moved it here. So this is a 1890s Victorian house. The AF on this camera is perfectly fine and quick and snappy. It's not, like I said, it's not like the A9, but it's much faster than some will lead you to believe. I actually saw a review the other day on YouTube from a guy trashing it, calling it a buggy POS when he never even held it in his hand or tried it. That's the problem a lot today with reviewers who try to review cameras without even trying the camera. So I'm telling you right here, the AF is actually perfectly acceptable. It's not slow. For medium format, it's actually quite snappy.
We're in the lowercase, so that's where that came from.
Oh, interesting. I never knew that. Uppercase and lowercase. That makes sense.
That does make sense, yeah.
And they had to do it so fast, you know, because everything had to be upside down and backwards.
Wow.
And then when they put it in the press, it was all the way it was supposed to be.
Right.
So they not only handset type really fast, it was backwards and
Wow, that's cool information.
Wow, that's cool, yeah.
Yeah.
Can
I take your
Thank
photo?
you very much.
Just taking photos of around. It'll be really cool. Trust me.
I'm ready for my close-up,
There you go.
Mr. Tim.
Alright, ready? 1, 2. Gotcha. Thank you.
The bank over there, I'll give you a little tidbit. I don't want you to stand in the sun too long. Sir Isaac Newton was hired by the government because of all of the counterfeiting that was going on, because money wasn't really established. Everybody had their own kind of trend, you know. And one of the things that us very resourceful pioneers did is with the silver coins, they would shave the edge. Say you had a 50-cent piece. You'd take it home, you'd shave the edge, you'd still use it for 50 cents. Merchant didn't know, right? Then you'd take all your shavings, take them in and cash them in.
Oh, interesting.
And so he came up with the idea to put the ridges. So that's why dimes, quarters, 50-cent pieces, and dollar
Look at
pieces
that.
have ridges on them, so merchants would know that they were not shaved.
Never heard of that. That's amazing. Yeah.
Oh.
Awesome. Well, thank you for the information.
Yeah, no worries.
What was your name?
My name's Mary.
Thank you, Mary.
You're welcome.
I always like shooting through glass like this because it adds this dimensionality to your photos. And they always look really cool. There's like a shine to them because you get the reflection of the background, what's behind me, and you get your subject, which in this case is an old doll. So we have the worst lighting conditions here at this schoolhouse because the sun is directly above us, so it's not optimal at all. So again, that'll be kind of testing the dynamic range to see if we can get something useful out of it. But it's always best to shoot this camera kind of like when you have good light, like golden hour kind of light. That's when you'll get the best results from it. That's actually the church. I thought it was the schoolhouse. So this is the church that has the not so good lighting on it. So I'm going to back up and try to get a shot of it. That's it, one shot and done. So let's go take a look at the church. Hello. Wow, this is so cool. Okay, now we're at the schoolhouse. This is kind of cool. It's like a little log cabin, and it's very tiny inside. I remember this from the last time we were here, so check out the schoolhouse. You can see all the holes in the ceiling. Okay, here's the menu screen of the X1D, which is something I haven't shown yet. So you have all your information here, which is touch screen. So I have auto ISO on, which is what I usually keep it on unless I need to manually change it. You can have your metering mode, you have your center weighted, your spot, or your center spot modes. So you can change everything. I have 582 pictures left on card A because there's dual card slots. And we can go to this menu. This is where all your settings are. So you can set up your display, your exposure simulation, your live view settings, image previews, overexposure warnings. You can set all that up. You can click on your battery management. So I have mine set to power off in 5 minutes, the display off after 10 seconds. Your exposure here. This is where you can set your shutter function. You can turn on the electronic shutter right there. I prefer using the leaf shutter in the lens, your flash, exposure, all these settings. And as you can see, everything, you can format your cards just by clicking on the storage icon. So I can quickly format. You also have how you want your cards to work. So primary slot is SD1. The secondary slot I have set to overflow, or you can have none. So when my first card runs out, it'll start saving them to the second slot. You can set your AF point size. I have mine set at the smallest. You can go from 4mm to 2mm. But as you can see, the touchscreen is very fluid. To play back an image, you can have your different displays. Here's the histogram display. You could zoom in, pinch, you can swipe, or once you get it back to I just went into a different mode where it's going to show 9 photos. You click on one, so you can swipe, and it's very smooth and it works very well. There's no issues. Back here you have your exposure lock button, your AF button, so you can use this to AF if you don't want to rely on the shutter button. Then you take your shot. Of course, you have your control dial here that controls your exposure compensation, and the one in the front controls your aperture. So it's very back to basics. It's a photographer's camera in the simplicity of it. Here you have your main dial. I always shoot in aperture priority mode, but if you start changing these, you can see it show up on the screen. It has a movie mode. So I'm gonna go back to aperture mode, and this just pops in and out. Very easy. Here's your power button, your shutter button. This switches from autofocus to manual focus, and this you can set your ISO and white balance on the fly very quickly. So the camera is very intuitive, very easy to operate. It's beautiful. The build quality is stunning. To be honest, the build quality beats the Leica M that I used to own, the M10 and M240. It's not heavy. Down here is your battery, which works a lot like the Leica SL and T. You have a weather seal right here, and you just slide it back in, and it's good to go. All right, guys, so that was it. I've done my 4 parts of the Hasselblad X1D review. I've done a few videos as supplements to the review. Be sure to check out the full written review with the photos you can click on and download or view on higher resolution at stevehufpphoto.com. If you go to the mirrorless central tab in the menu, that's where all the X1D links will be. So thanks for watching these videos on the X1D. I love it, and though it has a few quirks like the blackout of the EVF, it's not a fast camera, but you know that going into medium format. So as long as you know what you're getting, you're gonna love the camera. If you want a camera that kind of speaks to your heart and soul more than your technical brain, take a hard look at this camera. Try to handle one first, or maybe rent one, and that way you can know if it's right for you. If you like this video, thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks for watching. This is Steve at Steve Huff Photo, and Debbie's behind me filming, so thanks to her as well, and I'll see you next time.